I should be back in school. This is all wrong.
Hi, Greta. Do you remember what we told you to say?
I shouldn't be up here.
Yes, I suppose. You're a puppet.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood.
Quit, read. Remember what you have to say.
People are suffering. People are dying.
Exquisite.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
Oh, how many extinctions probably? Are even you worried?
I'm one of the lucky ones.
Good. How about budget?
With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years.
Ooh, use that big words. Say, how dare you? Come on then, Greta. Go ahead.
How dare you?
What the hell's going on out? Is that Greta? Greta! Greta, what are you doing out here? In the climate change, it's dangerous. It's cold. Okay, you're not my kid.
That was just so beautiful, Greta. Would you be willing to say it again? Your mother is watching. Yes. Go on then.
How dare you?
Perfect. Is that your favorite?
How dare you?
Mine too.
No matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. How dare you? The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. The world is waking up. How dare you? And change is coming, whether you like it or not. How dare you?
Hello, I am Perez Hilton, and you are watching AntiNews. AntiNews, for those of you who are soulless, catty, ginger shills, that is the podcast for you and me.
It's been far, far too long. Far, far too long. But this is the Anti-News, and it has been at least, I believe it's been about 2 months since we've done this. It used to be a bonus episode that we did in the Patreon program of the Downers Club. Then we made it into a weekly show, and then we canceled it all together, and now it's back, and we're going to at least have to start making it a monthly show.
Canceled it all together. I didn't cancel anything.
I canceled you. I fired you and then canceled it. But yeah, I'm thinking that we're gonna have to at least start doing it as a end of the month recap in the main.
Anti-News is going to be a new daily show, daily episodes out.
Craig just announced that he is going to be committing himself to a solo recap of the news daily. Craig, kudos and thank you for your service.
Cycle.
Yes, you're gonna be doing the Alex Jones cycle. But yeah, this is gonna be our September 2019 recap. And honestly, you don't need 24-hour news. You barely even need weekly news. I'd say that monthly we can cram it all in and get the majority of it in here. And with the way news is going, there's so freaking much to talk about. But is there really? Because the news is like, well, this happened. We think it's going to happen. It didn't. It might happen. It didn't happen. So it's like, if the news was actually honest, the news should only be about once a month, because we would all just wait until we have evidence of things and know what is actually going on before we start reporting on things. But
then they want to have to spend more time backpedaling on the stories that they fucked up the first time.
That's how they fill 24 hours. They tell lies, and then they get called out on it. So there's 24 hours of the one, then 24 hours of the actual, then 24 hours of apologies. But what?
This is kind of a story. I didn't want to really get into it, but you're talking about news backpedaling and all the shit from that. Have you heard anything about this thing that's going on in Des Moines recently with the beer guy?
No.
This guy, his name is Carson King. I'm not going to read the story, but this guy at a sports ball game held up a poster board, and all it said was, send money for me for Busch Light or something like that. And he gave his Venmo. Venmo? Is it Venmo?
I don't know. Sure. Venmo.
His information on this thing. He raised $1 million on Venmo for
awesome.
his beer fund. So this guy turns around, instead of spending $1 million on beer, he donates it for children's cancer to like a children's hospital there in Des Moines.
Nice.
Which the Des Moines Register picked up the article about it, which is Iowa's biggest newspaper, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the same guy that reported on it decided he's going to do some investigative journalism and research into this guy's Twitter account from all the way back till he was 16 years old. And they found some mildly homophobic and racist comments and stuff like that. And then decided to post an article about that.
Oh, that's newsworthy. 16-year-old made 16-year-old jokes.
Yeah. From years and years and years ago, a guy who was 16 made stupid jokes. So Anheuser-Busch decides to drop him as a sponsor because they had decided to put him on a can and donate a bunch of money to the same. The guy just donated freaking $1 million to cancer, and all we can talk about is this guy's Twitter post. So the internet, in all its glory, decided to dig into the reporter's background. And this guy was throwing out the N-word and faggot and stuff like that. And so now the Des Moines Register just looks like a bunch of dumbasses now. And so does Anheuser-Busch for immediately dropping this guy without anything, without hesitation. And Venmo came out and they're like, dude, we support you in your decision, and this is stupid, pretty much. And they came out and supported this guy. It's just ridiculous.
What a tiring spider web of nonsense that story was.
That's why I didn't want to read the whole thing. A bunch of my friends because I used to live in Des Moines, in the Des Moines area, and so a bunch of my friends from over there have just been blowing up Facebook about it and bashing on the Des Moines Register. And you got into retarded news and backpedaling, so it's just like, oh, we at least mention this.
Well, it's like, what can you?
One more thing.
Okay.
The governor of Iowa decided to declare this Saturday as Carson King Day, though. So the governor of Iowa even supports this guy.
What a homophobe.
How dumb does the Des Moines Register look?
The whole thing. It's just like, I don't care if you like shot a dude in the past, like 20 years ago or whatever, if you murdered, which is inarguably worse than making homophobic slurs on your Twitter. But if you killed somebody, you get out of jail, you're given $1 million and you donate that to charity. Why are we focusing on the murder? Why aren't we focusing on the thing that he's doing now?
Right. And the same newspaper that picked up the article in the first place, the same reporter that was like, dude, this guy just donated $1 million of beer money to cancer kids.
Yeah.
But when he was 16 years old, he said a racist joke on Twitter.
And?
Exactly. Just like, their asses are showing.
Yeah.
Just majorly showing.
It's ridiculous. And we haven't kicked off this the way that we're supposed to. Speaking of beer, this is the place where we kick back, we drink the drinks, smoke the smokes, and we just chat about the things that are going on in the world as we watch the world burn and joyfully, gleefully poke fun at it. But Craig, what are you drinking? What are you smoking?
I am drinking, I think it's Benchmark bourbon, just straight with ice. Well, I guess not straight if there's ice in it, because it's been that kind of day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I am vaping. This stuff has been on sale for like 3 weeks, and then this last week it went back. They dropped it down to $5, so I bought 2 of them. It's called Something Line. This is called Something Fruity, I think. It's
something.
A bunch of fruit. It's something fruity.
Yeah. It's just where they dump whatever's left over into a bottle. That's what I do with mine when I have a bunch of leftovers.
That's funny you say that, because on Saturday or Sunday I was doing schoolwork and I ran out of my bottle that I bought last week, and the place closed at 8 and it was like 8:15. So I am going through literally like finding empty bottles and putting them upside down and filling my tank up with all these mixtures, just whatever drops I could find. I did get myself through the night with it, and I was proud of myself. Yep. But yeah, this stuff though, I normally do 3 milligrams of nicotine, and they had 6 and 9 left, and then so I bought a 6. I was like, whatever, it's 6. And so he's like, oh, this one comes up to $5 now, because it was on sale for 11 originally. And so I was like, well, shit, in that case, give me 2 of them. Yep. And he walks up, he's like, oh, we're at a 6. We only have 9 or 0. I was like,
jeez, guess
okay,
9.
give me 9.
Not doing 0.
That's what I said. He's like, well, I guess you could mix them and get like a 7.5 or something. I was like, well, anything's better than 0, so who cares?
Yep. I am drinking my probably what I was drinking last time, the Stone Fear Movie Lions Double IPA, and I am vaping another go-to, which is the Silence of the Clouds, which is similar, by our unofficial sponsors, who will not respond to me when I ask them to sponsor the show, fuckingvaporco.com. Guys, sponsor.
Sponsoring for free, then.
It's fine. I don't care. Yeah, I have contacted them several times, especially when we did our vape episode. I thought it'd be great for them if they were going to ever sponsor. That'd be a great place to start. But alas, they do not respond whenever I ask, and I've asked multiple times. But oh well.
Issues at hand at this moment of
right.
the world.
Right.
They're probably focused more on other things other than tiny little podcast sponsorship.
I've pretty much told them, you don't have to give us money. You don't have to do anything other than maybe give us a sponsor code for our listeners to use, just so we can say that we're sponsored by you, because we're going to keep buying your shit anyway. So
shit. Just me and you. Send us one bottle.
You can send us one half bottle of juice, and that's good enough for me. If anybody knows a good vape company out there that wants to sponsor, here in the day and age where vape products are supposedly going to be banned, or they're getting cracked down upon, tell them to reach out to us, because we're whores. But yeah, we're not going to get
cheap whores too.
Yeah, very, very cheap. But we're not going to get into the vape stuff. If you want to listen to us rant for like an hour and a half about the whole vape nonsense that's going on, that's a big news story that is being overlooked. But we talked about that for pretty in depth recently on the Systems Down podcast. Go check it out there. So let's kick off our intro, and then we'll jump into this. We're dragging on. We're prattling on because we are old and rusty and busted. However, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right into it. Here we go.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
I would ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that. I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
Thieves or possesses weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that which not smoke. We are still here!
We have to say yes to social justice.
No, it's a big club, and you ain't in it.
All right. We have to kick off I would say where the hell do we start, but we have to kick off talking about Tom Macdonald just because I reviewed Tom Macdonald's album last week. Go check that out if you haven't already. But Tom Macdonald, I'm going to throw out his name a couple times here so we can include him in the description, so this might reach his ears as well, because he said in a comment that he would come on the show and to hit him up at his email address. He has not responded to that email address. So, Tom, I reviewed your album Ghost Stories. Stop ghosting stories me and respond to my email. Yeah. That's all. But there are a few things in the news that I think are noteworthy that have happened over the last few months that we don't have to dig too deeply in. But all the controversial artists like Tom Macdonald, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, coming out and saying, fuck it, we're going to talk about what we want, which I very, very much appreciate. And I would recommend everybody go check out all of those pieces of art. And that's pretty much all I can say about them.
All those pieces of shit.
Did you see the Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr specials?
No, I haven't had time to do anything.
With you?
I haven't had time to do anything.
Okay, well, Dave Chappelle, check that out at least. You can't check out Tom Macdonald's album because it's not available anywhere except for on his website. But so where the hell do we start? Do we want to slowly progress into the political bullshit that could easily take up this entire thing?
Yeah, let's hit up some lighthearted stuff before we completely want to kill ourselves.
Okay, entertainment news. The Joker is coming out, and people are already freaking out that it's going to cause straight white males to shoot up movie theaters and kill people and all sorts of things. What?
Has it even been released yet?
No, it comes out next Friday. When this comes out, it'll be this Friday.
Are the critics that have seen it worried about this, or are people who have not seen a damn thing besides that 2-minute trailer?
Well, it's kind of like the Dave Chappelle thing where some of the critics are saying, oh, this is trash, but other critics are saying this is amazing, like praising it, saying it's going to win awards. It's like, yes, it deals with a man who has psychological issues and gets pushed into a mental state where he becomes a murderer, but we've had movies like this in the past. We weren't concerned about American Psycho, and it was about an American Psycho.
And we have this in real life.
Right.
This happens. I mean, maybe not a guy that there was a guy that dressed up as a clown and went psycho and murdered people.
I think that's some of what's sparking the outrage because it has happened. But, if anybody, God forbid it does, but if anybody decides to take up the Joker ensemble and shoot anybody or do anything terrible, how bad would Jared Leto feel for being the only Joker in the last 20 years to not get anybody killed?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, the whole thing with the movie theater shooting with that creepy guy, did he claim to be a clown or a Joker-esque figure, or did he just have weird red hair? Because the Joker didn't even have red hair.
I know. I don't remember at all. Yeah, it was bizarre. And it was during the third one, right? It was during Dark Knight Rises, right? Because he had seen Dark Knight, where the Joker was this terrible person, then he went into the Dark Knight Rises and shot up a theater, right?
I don't know then. Maybe you're right. That makes even less sense.
Right.
But
So he knew that the Joker didn't have red hair and never has had red hair.
You're going to... Anything you release can trigger somebody to psychopathy or whatever the word is.
Psychopathy?
Psychopathy. I mean, you could release a chick flick where a guy dumps a girl and she could be triggered by that because she got dumped in the same manner and go on a killing spree. I mean,
right.
It's just ridiculous. Everything now is, I don't know how the people are going to feel about this. Like, maybe we shouldn't release this because it might trigger them. No, come on. It's like this stuff happens in real life. And
even if it doesn't happen in real life, it doesn't matter. It's like you're telling a story of a guy who went insane and killed people. This is not new. This is not a new thing. It's just because the Joker is he's really well known and people are really excited to see what they do with this. But it's not new. It's not a new concept. The Joker, even in the comics, he's that. That's what he is. He's a psycho, like, womanizing asshole.
Right. Have you seen the one from the 90s? What's the guy's name? Jack Nicholson. He was just as psychotic. I mean, it wasn't as dark, kind of, and creepy, but it was, because it was Tim Burton, wasn't it? I mean, so it was still dark, and he was definitely a psychopath on that too, and he still killed people. So
I think the big thing is in those movies. You're cutting out whenever I talk, so if I talk over you, too bad. In those movies, though, it was, I mean, Batman was the antagonist. I think the issue with this one versus those ones is that he is the main person, so you're kind of sympathizing with a person as his mental state breaks down.
We had Hannibal Rising. The guy eats people.
Uh-huh.
And the whole movie was based on his background story and why he eats people and murders people and chops them up into delicate cuisines and has dinner parties and shit like that. But nope, it's 2019. We can't have that anymore. And we should probably also go back and scrub all the Jokers and all the psychopaths from previous films, just in case.
How about things like Breaking Bad or anything where there's like an anti-hero, Venom, where it's like this person who you're supposed to sympathize with and feel for who goes down a bad road. Like, do you just want good guy versus bad guy, light versus dark? I'm not talking skin color.
We just want good guy. We just want good guy.
Good guy versus good guy.
Like, we can't have any conflict because that could lead people down the wrong path. We just want good people doing good things and having a good life, and their life is just flowers and rainbows that they're through the daffodils. Yep.
So in other news, let me see, that is not getting too deep in depth into the shit yet. Walmart has announced that they are planning, and I heard this from Brian McWilliams on Lions of Liberty and Electric Liberty Land. Walmart is planning, I don't have a story pulled up, they are planning to do their own healthcare, basically, where they you can go get checkups, you can go and they will have like what things cost. They'll have a list of things, which is how it should be. However, if somebody was going to do it, I don't know if Walmart's the one to do it. I know that once it happens, they will be regulated into an oblivion and won't work out. But just transparency where you can see prices and things are reasonable. That's what we need more of. But kudos on Walmart for taking a shot at it.
But Walmart, is Walmart good at anything?
Being cheap.
But that exactly. But you get what you pay for.
It's not like you're going to go to Walmart and get a heart transplant. You're going to go and get like a checkup, and they're going to say, "Hey, you need this," and
I can't hear. Oh,
what?
Like you muted that entire sentence, and then I heard, "I don't know," and now you're muted again. What the hell is happening?
What is happening? Hello?
I hear you now.
Hello?
Hello?
How about now?
Hello? I hear you. I've heard you, but then you start to say a real sentence and nothing comes out. And then you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening. And I can hear that part. But then the actual substance of your sentence doesn't come out.
Well, it wouldn't be an AntiNews episode if we didn't have technical difficulties. But what I was saying was they're not, I don't know, they're not giving heart transplants or anything. They're going to be like, just giving checkups and things and saying how much things cost. I don't know. It seems strange, and I would have to see how it fleshes out. Walmart, I have concerns about being the first to do it, but somebody needs to do it, and if Walmart's willing to step up and take a swing at it and inevitably get knocked down 6 months later, then good on them.
Sure. So I got a story that was sent to me today. It was reported on recently on the 25th, so yesterday, but it's actually an old story that just never came to light. And this one is like the story of the worst horror movie you could ever imagine in real life, though.
Okay.
This couple claims that a 6-year-old dwarf they adopted was really an adult sociopath. I mean, you laugh at it, but this is terrifying.
This is a great B movie.
I know, that's what I said. I would probably buy this movie if it was like on the $5 rack.
I would buy that dwarf.
So it says the Barnetts adopted Natalia Grace of Ukraine in 2010. They were told she was 6, but her vocabulary and adult teeth suggested otherwise.
Oh my.
That's the start. I mean, this article goes a while. I'm not going to read the whole thing,
Sure.
but as
Give
it
us
goes,
the short
it's
breakdown.
creepier. So it starts out in India, a couple that believed they were scammed into adopting an adult Ukrainian with dwarfism are now being charged with felony neglect of a child. Says Christine Burnett and her now ex-husband Michael adopted Natalia Grace from Florida in 2010 and were told she was 6 years old. The girl migrated to the U.S. from the Ukraine 2 years earlier, but lacked a birth certificate. Convenient. Elated at the prospect of expanding their family. The person reporting this is the person that like clicks the thesaurus and changes all their words to really small words. Because it says, elated at the prospect of expanding their family, the prudent couple visited several doctors to determine the girl's age. So they're excited about expanding, and quickly they visited several doctors. He was originally found to be between 8 and 10, yet afflicted by spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia, a rare bone growth disorder that results in dwarfism. No, not that one. The other one. Natalia soon began to exhibit odd and violent behavior, including hiding her periods.
Oh my.
Now,
and you're frozen. You're frozen. We lost Craig. Off to a good start. Speaking of Ukraine. Just kidding. We'll get into that later. Let me call Craig back. This is going to be what it's going to be. I'm not going to edit this crap out because it's still the anti-news, even though it's in a more official manner. Our official manner is just as unofficial as anti-news has ever been. Where you at, Craig? It's got to be his internet, because mine seems to be doing just fine. While he's there, I'll read you a news story. Let's see what we have on the good old internets. There's so much, I don't even know where to start, where to end, or where to go. Let's see here. Who's texting me? Yeah, I'm going to check my texts. Okay. So, there was another movie that was canceled. Well, a movie that was canceled out of the same type of fear that they have for the Joker movie. Jumping back to that. It was The Hunted or The Hunting or The Hunter or something like that. And it was basically a movie where these elitist leftists were hunting down right-wing hillbillies. So that just got canceled in the light of the supposed Walmart shootings and all that stuff. It's just like, it's a stupid place where we're at, where things just get canceled out of fear of something potentially sparking or something. It sounded like it was going to be a comedy and it was going to be a fun, funny movie, and it was going to be sympathizing more with the right, which is rare in Hollywood, which might be why it was canceled. I don't know. Craig is not online, so it is definitely on him, but I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, it's a stupid place where we're at, where based on politics, things are canceled. Based on politics, things are made to begin with. Things like Star Wars and Marvel. Like, why do politics come into our entertainment? Entertainment is supposed to be an escapism from reality. You can't watch a superhero movie. You can't watch a movie about a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away without getting fed some sort of political message. Here's Craig. Without getting fed some sort of political message about how you should be living and thinking. And Craig is back. Craig. What happened, Craig?
Period blood.
You have a poor connection, Craig.
I know. I don't know why.
Maybe you should be fired. Because I give you another shot, and this is where we're at.
So, can you at least hear me?
Yeah, I jumped into talking about other movie news that you probably don't care about. So jump back to midget period blood, please.
So this girl was exhibiting violent behavior, including odd and violent
woman.
Suppose hiding her periods and threatening to kill members of the family. The Barnetts consequently came to suspect that Natalia was older than they thought and contacted their primary care physician. They should be able to carbon date a kid and know how old they are.
Just chop off a leg and count the rings.
Exactly. Doctor did find that she was at least 14 years old, and she'd fooled everyone into believing she was a child. Bitch. The Barnetts consequently rented a North Carolina apartment for her and left her there and moved to Canada and stayed in contact with the girl. I mean, they were terrified. They were straight up terrified of this bitch.
This is like when you watch like one of the horror movies and you're like, why didn't you just like leave? Why didn't you leave the haunted house? Just move out, cut your losses. Like, don't let anybody die in the family. Just go away. They're like, yep, see ya, bitch. We're out. Enjoy your apartment. Bye.
It says the couple has since been charged with felony neglect for abandoning their adopted child.
If she was like threatening to kill them, why didn't they just call the cops on her?
It says Christine, the mom, however, remains adamant that Natalia is not only a fully fledged adult, but also a dangerous sociopath. Natalia's whereabouts and her actual age are currently unknown right now. Great. While the Barnetts are due to stay...
There's some murderous dwarf out there somewhere claiming to be a child.
She says, the media is painting me to be a child abuser, but there is no child. All right. Goes into their difficulties, and their son has something, and they were foster parents, and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. So it says, Christine Barnett claimed the girl would throw bloody clothes into the garbage to hide that she had a period. She noted, too, that the girl had adult teeth and pubic hair. That's more than I wanted to read. The author also claimed that Natalia had threatened to stab the family in their sleep and poured bleach into Barnett's coffee.
Even if she was a 6-year-old doing that, there are ways to get your child taken. Like, she should have been put into some sort of child mental institute for pouring bleach into your coffee and trying to murder you. Doesn't matter how old she is.
Barnett said she would make statements and draw pictures saying she wanted to kill family members, roll them up in a blanket, and put them in the backyard. She was standing over people in the middle of the night. You couldn't sleep. Standing over. You woke up. She's standing over you.
She was standing next to you. Was she really over you?
Either way,
if
after
you confused her with a 6 or an 8-year-old, was she really over you? But yeah, that's horrifying.
Outside my window, and I need a glass of water. Standing over people, blah blah blah. We couldn't go to sleep. We had to hide all the sharp objects. Additionally, Barnett claimed Natalia did not grow in the time that she lived with the family. Growth can still occur even in children with Natalia's form of dwarfism. Natalia was later diagnosed with a psychological illness, seen mainly in adults.
Known as Murderdorf.
When Barnett's family physician conducted bone density tests, the results indicated that she was at least 14 or older, so they did count her rings. According to the Barnetts, the girl's behavior only worsened as they grew more skeptical of her age. Christine claimed she saw Natalia attack her baby boy over the baby monitor one day. The girl would scoff at the childish exercise during family therapy and allegedly heard voices and engaged aberrant behavior, whatever the fuck that means. She was jumping out of moving cars. She was smearing blood on windows. She was doing things you could never imagine a little child doing. She's doing things you could never imagine a person in general
Right.
doing. When
Even just your run-of-the-mill dwarf, that would be, some red flags right there.
Okay, so this seems to be the final straw. She reportedly pushed her adopted mother against an electric fence in 2012. She was placed in a state-run psychiatric unit and admitted she was much older during that time, and several clinicians proved this was so. And she ended up confessing she was 18. The Barnetts are being accused for abandoning a child, even though she claimed to be 18. Left her with a rental property, like I said. Somebody else took the crazy dwarf in. Another family did.
Was their last name Barnum or Bailey or anything of the sort?
Anyway, the mom got her birth date on her birth certificate legally changed, so that they could commit her to like psychiatric treatments. They got her birth legally changed. Mm-hmm. But then it says she's joined a new family. Let's see. Couple Antoine and Cynthia Mans petitioned to become her legal guardian in 2016, which would require them restoring Natalia's original birth date to 2003. So they legally changed her birth date. This couple's like, no, she's just a sweet little girl. Let's get her birth date changed back to 2003. When this was 2012, so you're talking like 9 years old. They're saying, no, she really is 9 years old. Mm-hmm. Oh, it keeps going, but that's basically the horror story.
Those Ukrainians. Speaking of Ukrainians, Craig, did you hear anything about what happened at Area 51?
I heard there was a festival and people went and stood around.
So did anything actually happen? Did anybody attempt?
No, I don't think so. Not that I heard.
All right, just checking. What a letdown. What?
What does that have to do with Ukrainians?
I'm going to keep teasing the actual story here. But speaking of Ukrainians, we're going to talk about Greta Thunberg, who's not Ukrainian, but she showed up at the UN summit and gave her big rousing speech. Excuse me. Welcome to the AntiNews. I am sure that by now, if you follow this show and this feed, that you've heard Scott give a much better explanation of who Greta Thunberg is by now, because that happened on Friday, which is tomorrow when we're recording this. So I'm not going to dig into it too deeply, but the clip at the beginning of the episode was Greta meeting Pennywise, who seems to be her handler or her scriptwriter. She is the daughter of an actor and an opera star, which is a thing in other countries. And yeah, she's like, if you watch the video, like I hear that, like Scott says, there's much more strange things going on with her background and everything. But just when I was watching it, I was like, she feels like an actress all around. Like, she either feels like an actress, which she definitely is. She's definitely acting. She's reading a script, but she also seems. I hear that she probably has Asperger's, and she's autistic as well. The real story here is that these parents are like, you know what we need? Let's put our little autistic child out there. Let's scare the shit out of her and put her out there to give this rousing thespian speech about how we're killing the climate and we're killing the world based on all of her knowledge, all of this.
That's what I was going to say. All this information that she, in her, how many years old?
Right. She's, I think she's like 16. So she's not like young, but.
She looks like she's like 9.
Yeah. I don't know. She also looks like she's very old when she makes the squinty pirate eye face, but that's something else. I don't know.
16 years of knowledge, which, as we stated at the beginning of the show, 16 years of knowledge gets you shit for Twitter post of homophobic and racist nature, but in all her years of wisdom, she came up with the speech all on her own.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's just a big sob story of, you're ruining my childhood. I should be in school right now across the ocean. And I should be like, they just brought her out as a frickin' mascot for their point of view, and it's their
Climate
politics.
change for her not being in school across the ocean.
What?
I said, what is climate? Because she's skipping class? Is that what she's saying?
Well, yeah, she's saying, I shouldn't have to be here right now. You guys should be fighting this battle. I shouldn't have to be here. I should be able to be a child. You're ruining my childhood, and blah, 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 blah.
But the children.
Right. That's the thing.
The children are always the sob story, like, to get people to make decisions. I mean, it got us into the Gulf War with the incubators, the children in the incubators. It got us into just about everything we've ever done. You just got I mean, you throw a child out there. That's why David Hogg made it so big. I mean, he wasn't a child, but he wasn't much older than this girl, apparently, because he was 17 or 18 when he started his ranting and raving about school shootings and stuff. Well, and so, I mean, the best thing you can do to get your point across in today's age is throw a child out there who knows nothing and just tell them what to say.
Yeah.
People eat that shit up.
To me, it is sacrificing your child on the altar of politics, because she's not going to have a normal childhood now. She would have before. It would have been fine, but they allowed her to live in this place of horror and fear that the world is going to collapse in 8 years, and then they sacrificed her on the altar of the media, because there's no way. She can't walk down the street now without somebody being like, you're an idiot, you're stupid. Like, she's 16 years old, and she's saying that the climate change deniers or whatever, they're the ones who are taking her childhood away. How about your parents who are making you their poster child for their point of view, and they're not scientists either?
So, I read a post. It was just like a clip from an article or a speech from like 1988, which was the year you were born, coincidentally. But it said, if things don't change with like our emissions or towards climate change, we'll all be extinct by the year 2000. Guess what? That was 19 years ago, and we're still not extinct. And here, the 16-year-old living in fear, as you said. I mean, I believe she probably is terrified, but not because
her predictions that she's making were made before she was born. But her now at 16 is an authority figure on talking about it.
But like I said, she probably lives in legitimate fear because her parents put her in that state.
Right.
Instead of just, I mean, she's not looking around and seeing these things on her own and is just terrified. No, it's all this shit that's been, they cracked open her skull and are pouring shit straight into her brain. Mm-hmm. And now she is a terrified 16-year-old.
Right. It's like, yes, your childhood is ruined by climate change. Climate change, the title, not climate change, the act. Like, your childhood is ruined because your parents are forcing their religion down your throat of live your life in fear. And that's not healthy, no matter what aspect you have it in.
It's like the 60s and 70s and most of the 80s. It's like communism was poured into children's brain. People were just terrified of the threat of communism, which did take over a good chunk of Europe and Asia and stuff like that and filtered into South America and stuff. We're still here, guys. I mean, yes, we did almost get nuked by Russia mostly because of our own fears of this evil communism, not so much communist trying to take over the world, but because we were trying to put our nose where it doesn't belong. And it's just like this invisible enemy always has to be here.
Right.
We always have to be afraid of something that is going to kill us or destroy civilization and humanity.
Yep. And yeah, the real enemy here is your parents, child. Like, I don't make fun of you because I think that you are stupid. I think that you are ignorant because you're a 16-year-old and you're only given you're only putting out what you're given, and your parents are borderline abusers for even putting you out on this this pedestal and making you their mouthpiece, because they know that that will garner more attention, as it has. What else have you heard from this climate summit other than Greta Thunberg being a child saying the same things as the other people? Nothing.
I didn't even know there was a summit going on until this 16-year-old came out.
Exactly.
Making the headlines.
It's like they think that that's going to be the thing that sways opinions. No, it's going to be the thing that ruins this person's childhood, because people aren't coming out and saying yes. I mean, some people are. They're not, but most people aren't saying yes, go Greta. They're saying screw you, stupid. Like, get back to your hole. They're just criticizing her, which I'm not. I'll poke fun at her, sure, because she's wrong, or she's at least ill-informed, but she's really the victim here in the whole thing, and not in the way that she thinks she is.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous, and subjecting your child to that is just beyond ridiculous. And I have a sister-in-law who is a diehard leftist, and her 8-year-old daughter is being raised super feminist and super anti-climate change, and fear-mongering is...
Anti-climate change? I think we're all anti-climate change.
No, I actually want the climate to change.
Give us more warm weather. That's fine. Give us 1 degree. That's okay.
Exactly.
Who needs polar bears? Fuck them.
It's 1 degree, really.
But yeah,
it's 1 degree. Do you even notice 1 degree when you walk outside?
But the whole reason behind which I'm not even sure if it's going to make it into the episode, the video version. I made a nice, fun video for the beginning, if it is allowed to exist. But I posted it earlier today, and it's getting taken down by Facebook already, getting blocked. But the reason why I made Greta Thunberg talking to Pennywise in the yellow raincoat is because if you look at pictures of her, the only pictures are from the summit, and then there's another one of her in a yellow poncho that is exactly like what the kid wore there. And I was like, does anybody else see the correlation here? It's like, when the ice caps melt, you'll float too. It's very strange, but yeah, go check out that video. It's currently still on YouTube, if it's not allowed to be at the beginning of this video, but I'd say that's enough on this poor child. I hope that she's brushed aside faster than David Hogg is, and she can just live a normal life, but I highly doubt it.
Not going to happen. So the real news of today is more of an inquiry into what the hell is in your ears today.
I've got this earpiece in my ear so I can hear you. What are you talking about?
Nope.
Oh, you talking about my faggy danglers?
Yes, faggy danglers.
Yeah. I'm just trying it out. You know, it's 2019. Grow up, man.
You should try a little less. What are they? Because you're a little pixely in my... I mean, they're just dangly?
They're just dangly, pretty earrings. You got a problem with that?
Nope.
I can be pretty if I want to.
Just wondering.
I actually got them. We were at Old Threshers Union, which is like tractors and old farmers getting together and blah, 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 and log cabins and fun things. I mean, fun things in quotes. I enjoy it because... What?
Southern Iowa?
Yeah, something like that.
Like Washington or something like that.
Kayla's family's been going every year for like 5 or 6 years, and they went back in the day too. We were there this year, and I took our daughter over. She wanted to go over to this like jewelry stand. It had like little girl jewelry, and she was like asking me advice, like to pick out things. And I was giving her advice and everything, which is fine. And then I was like, "Do you think these look good on me?" And she's like, "You wouldn't wear those. Like, you won't bet." Why aren't men allowed to wear gay danglers? I don't care.
I mean, you're allowed. Clearly, you're wearing them.
That's right.
I mean, they look.
I identify as. I literally saw a video recently where a man
Person?
identified as a. It was like 4 statements long, and then the last thing was shapeshifter in parentheses probably. Literal.
So I don't even know what I identify. I identify as this, maybe.
So you went with shapeshifter, which is bizarre enough, and then probably. If you call me on it, I might not be. Who knows? I might shapeshift into something that's not a shapeshifter. I don't know.
I haven't figured that part out yet, but I think I might be a shapeshifter. So, speaking of shapeshifting, this has nothing to do with it, but that's how I'm going to segue. We did talk about vaping, and we said we weren't going to talk at all about it. I did want to make the announcement that JUUL, the big vaping or e-cigarette company owned by the big cigarette corporations, has decided to replace their CEO during all this vaping ban talk
Bullshit.
with a tobacco executive. No way.
Surprise. His name is Phil Morris.
It just says, the surprise announcement was the latest sign of a crisis, not crises, just one crisis, at a company under scrutiny over its vaping products that have been highly popular among teenagers. Not the teenagers.
Not the children.
The vaping powerhouse, JUUL Labs, replaced its chief executive with a veteran of big tobacco on Wednesday, deepening the company's turmoil and raising doubts about the very future of the e-cigarette industry. No, that's not a sign that e-cigarettes are going away.
It's a sign that they're about to boom. Only yours.
It's a sign, yes, that their company, who is owned by Philip Morris, as you said, has skirted this kind of turmoil for decades, for half a century now, under big tobacco. So why not bring in a former big tobacco executive who's been dealing with this kind of crap since the 50s or 60s, when the Surgeon General decided to slap warnings on cigarettes because people thought they were good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, let's bring in this guy because he probably has a track record of beating the legal system as is. Good. Right. I mean, they make it look like, oh, poor JUUL, they're going downhill, so they're going to bring in this tobacco guy and shift directions towards tobacco. No, they're not going to shift their direction towards tobacco. I mean, it's Philip Morris. They already have enough tobacco. How many cigarette companies do they already have? Right. Not like they're going to turn JUUL into a cigarette. No, it's just, hey, this guy can do this.
He knows how to sell bullshit.
Yep. Let's bring the guy in. While all the other vape companies get decimated, especially in like Massachusetts where there's a freaking 4-month ban. 4-month ban.
Stupid.
Do you know what? You know what I'm going to do when they announce a ban in Iowa? If and when they announce a ban in Iowa, I'm going to go out and buy probably 30 bottles of vape juice to last out that 4 months.
Yep. And are they able to buy it online still?
I don't know. But they are. I did read. I don't have an article in front of me. I'm sure they're able to order it online from companies outside of Massachusetts.
Right.
It's just any company in
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Unless they have like, the company's not allowed to ship it in, and the company won't because it'll be breaking the law.
Right. I did read that they are going to like have the police enforce this. So, and they're going to go in and do random checks to make sure that they are not selling these products during that 4 months.
We can't spend too much time on this, but as I said in the vape-isode, it's completely retarded that we are at the same time, we are simultaneously here in 2019 talking about legalizing marijuana everywhere and also criminalizing vape products.
In a world, in the last 6 months, I've sat here contemplating whether or not I should quit vaping just because, and I even threw mine away. I told you this story. All this does is make me hunker down and just want to hold on to my vape that much more. Just because I want
stockpile. And I heard in Michigan you couldn't have more than like 2 bottles of flavored vape juice. So you can have some, just not enough, just not a good amount.
It's kind of like marijuana laws where if you're arrested with a little bit, you pretty much get a slap on the wrist. If you're arrested with a little bit more than a little bit, you could go to prison for 5 years.
Right. I mean, are there people out there who are going to be... I take that back. I'm sure there are people out there who are going to be hawking vape juice. They're going to be buying online and selling it on the black market. And they're going to be eventually making their own, and it's going to be less safe and more harmful because, yay, government protecting us and keeping us safe. But enough of the vapes. Speaking of Ukraine, we got to talk about the Ukraine impeachment, Donald Trump stuff that's going on. Conspiracy number 5 or 12 or something.
How many times or situations has Donald Trump been threatened impeachment in the last 3.5 years?
It's kind of like, do you listen to Tim Pool at all?
No.
You should. He's more lefty, but I think he's good on most things. But he reports on this, and he's like, they're literally walking into a trap. I'm not saying Donald Trump is playing 4D chess. I don't necessarily believe that he is, but if he's not, it's almost like if this is just a coincidence that this keeps happening, it's like if you buy this as just a coincidence, it's the equivalent of Donald Trump walking down a hallway, slipping on a banana peel 25 times in a row, and every single time he does a backflip and lands on his feet. Like, at some point you got to say something's going on here. Like, this is getting bizarre.
This one here, to me, there's no way they're going to get him on anything. And I'll let you get into the actual story of it. But there's no way as dumb as anyone can say Donald Trump is, there's no way they could say he's dumb enough to leave a trail the way they're claiming he possibly has, because Richard Nixon made the blueprints for what not to do if you are going to do something shady in your presidency. Don't record you saying incriminating stuff, because guess what? They can order you to hand those tapes over, and then you can get forced to leave the office because you're an idiot and recorded yourself, first of all.
Yeah.
Secretly, and then said stupid shit about covering up the thing that you're being accused of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every president since Richard Nixon probably knows, I'm not going to say this on the phone.
Right.
I mean, maybe Hillary Clinton will send in an email.
Did you read the transcript?
I read the transcript I read kind of an overview of the transcript of the phone call. Get into the story so people know what the hell we're talking about.
Okay, if you don't know,
listeners probably don't get.
Well, who knows? Who knows? We've got a mixed bag of weirdos, but I'm sure you know at the very least that the Democrats are calling for an official impeachment of Donald Trump now, kind of again, but the first official time because of now Ukrainian collusion, because Russia didn't stick, and they're saying that he talked to the Ukrainian president right after he was elected, and he made some deal with the Ukrainian president, what's his name, Zelensky, who...
Justin Zelensky.
Yeah. He made some sort of deal to get dirt on Joe Biden. That's it. And as this is coming out, all I can think is, well, if he's getting dirt on Joe Biden, it's like he's setting a trap here. Because if it's out there that he's going to be impeached for it, and the Democrats are going to just go running like headlong into this thing, and he's getting dirt on Joe Biden, then that means there's probably dirt on Joe Biden. And they're going to rush into it and be like, we're going to get dirt on Trump. And then they're going to show up and be like, well, we didn't have enough, but now all this stuff about Joe Biden's out there. And that's exactly what's happening.
It's exactly what happened during the Russian collusion thing. It came out more that Hillary Clinton did more and had more incriminating stuff against her than anything ever came out against Trump.
Yeah.
Yet nothing happened there.
Yeah. And as we always say, or at least I always say, not a Trump supporter. When he does good. When he does bad. There's there's plenty of stuff that you could have pushed for impeachment against him on long before this, like war crimes and things. But, presidents always do that, and that's totally fine. We have to focus on the very titillating things like collusion. It didn't work before, so we gotta try it again. And it's just, I feel like this has gotta be like, I don't know. I feel like they are realizing, hey, we don't have anybody out here who could possibly win. Maybe a Joe Biden. I mean, still, no. His eyeball will pop and burst blood as he gets overexcited in the Democratic debates.
And smell kids' hair.
Yeah, all sorts of fun things. Honestly, watching the Democratic debates, he is the one who I'm like, man, these people are making Joe Biden look really sane, which is quite a feat, and I'm really impressed by them. It's like they know that they have zero people that could possibly go up against Donald Trump, so they're Hail Marying, and they're like, if we can get him impeached, then maybe Mike Pence, somebody could have, a shot at Mike Pence. Can you imagine being Mike Pence, a guy who we haven't heard speak since 2016 or leading up to 2016? He comes out or Donald Trump gets impeached, and Pence comes in 2 months before the elections, and he's like, okay, I guess I got to do this now.
So I don't remember the Joe Biden thing. It was something to do with him and his son had what do you remember exactly what they were accused of doing or searching for?
I can't remember the exact specifics, but it was something that Joe Biden has bragged about, saying that he did something to block something with the Ukraine or whatever. Again, not a news source. Don't take our word for it. Look it up. But it was something that seemed shady on his part that he bragged about in the past. So
if the details are correct about Trump, it's kind of shady as well, because he had said so there's the grounds for impeachment are that he was trading basically financial aid to Ukraine or using that as leverage to get this information about Joe Biden, which was it was like $400 million of military aid that we're sending Ukraine. And so they're pretty much saying, and a whistleblower came out, which I don't think they've announced who it is yet. Whistleblower came out and said this phone call was made and Donald Trump was talking to him. And in the transcript, it's funny because the president of Ukraine, this Zelensky guy, was like, well, we want to thank you for your military aid and stuff like that. And this was not part of the conversation at all. And apparently Trump had froze the $400 million of military aid 3 or 4 days before this phone call. Could have something to do with it, might not have something to do with it, but for him to just be like, well, we just want to say thanks to this, and he's like, oh yeah, no problem. That's just what I do we
want to help, which we haven't gotten the same treatment in the past from the Ukraine.
Yes, and so basically, I mean, he wasn't necessarily leveraging in that phone call, but he definitely brought up the fact, look, we help you guys out.
Sure.
We expect help. That is not incriminating. And as I said, after the Nixon scandal, there's no way in hell Donald Trump's going to get up and be like, hey, look, man, Mr. Zelensky, if you ever want to see that $400 million again, you better listen to me. No, he's not that stupid.
Yeah. The whole thing is really, I mean, I don't know the law. I don't know if it's illegal for him to say, hey, we think that Joe Biden was doing some shady business with you guys in the past. Can you look into that? It seems like that should be fine. I could be wrong, but that's not even necessarily tampering with the election. If Joe Biden wasn't running, this would not be a big deal, in my opinion. Or I don't know.
Would, because it's Donald Trump, so everything's a big deal.
Well, sure, but
he's in the wrong direction, and it's a big deal.
Yeah, but if it's like we're trying to find out if this politician is doing shady business dealings and tampering with things in the past. And it's wrong for him to ask them to say whether yes or no, whether or not that it happened. I don't know. It just seems stupid. It just seems like nothing, because it's like it doesn't incriminate Donald Trump any more than it incriminates Joe Biden.
So apparently Trump, though, is losing Senate support in great mass quantities with this whole situation. This article here says Senate surprise. McConnell and entire Senate back the call for the whistleblower complaint to be turned over. He turned over the transcripts, but they want the initial complaint to be turned over, which Trump has been blocking. What is a complaint going to tell you? Because What
is a complaint going to tell you that a transcript isn't going to tell you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. A complaint isn't evidence. Like,
right.
An accusal is not evidence of anything. That's like saying, this person accused me of rape, and that is evidence that this person raped me.
Well,
no,
that is these days.
Sometimes, yes. So it says, this is unusual and, dare we say, unprecedented since Donald Trump became president. The Senate unanimously is going against the president's wishes to keep the whistleblower complaint under wraps. Probably because, like most accusals, as soon as you're accused, you are that person, regardless of evidence. This means Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has backed Trump almost every step of the way, agrees with the resolution to release it to Congress. Bloomberg Steve Dennis. Bloomberg Steve Dennis. Is that his name, or is he with Bloomberg? It just says Bloomberg Steve Dennis, all in no commas, no nothing.
Don't know.
Writes, the Senate has unanimously, and he's got asterisks on both sides of that, unanimously agreed to Schumer's resolution, of course it was Schumer, calling for the whistleblower complaint to be turned over to the Intelligence Committees immediately. That's every Senate Republican plus every Democrat, so every member of Senate. You could have said that. Now, via unanimous consent, agreeing to call on the Trump administration to cough up the whistleblower complaint, not just the phone call transcript. This is rare, folks, he said. That is the entire story right there. Spread you.
In the whole thing, I don't care at all. I'm not calling this a win for the Republicans or a win for the Democrats, and they're both calling it that for themselves. I'm calling it, hey, if he broke the law, fine, push for impeachment. My cat is screaming to get out of this office, so I'm going to have to let him out in a second. But I don't care. Like, if he broke the law, impeach his ass. I don't care. But until you... I feel like my mindset is probably similar to what everybody else's is, which is... just don't tell me about it till you have something to report. And when you have something to report, then let's talk about it. Because I read the transcript, and on the surface level, in text, I see no problem, necessarily. There might be something more there that I'm not seeing, or whatever, but... They're both calling it a win. They're both saying, like, the Republicans are saying, well, he released the transcripts immediately, so that obviously proves that he's innocent. And I say that that's probably the case. They're confident enough, obviously, in the transcripts that they would release them the next day after the impeachment thing happened. But not after he released them, you have people like Bernie Sanders, and especially I've watched the last two monologues from, what's his name, Stephen Colbert, and it is like so cringy and bad, where he's just like, well, this is it, folks, this is it, and they're like, yay, get standing ovations, literally, on a late night show, and telling bad Trump jokes still. And it's just like, there's, so far as I can tell, there's still nothing here, and you guys are just guaranteeing, if this witch hunt doesn't work out for you, like the last ones didn't, then it's just guaranteeing a win in 2020 for him.
A part of me suspects that he's holding on to them just to entice them all the more to push for them. So then when he releases them, they're like, oh, giant nothing burger, nothing in here, just like everything else. It's like, I mean, like I said, he's not retarded. He's not a complete idiot. He might sound retarded sometimes, but I mean, he's not going to do anything that just blatantly incriminates himself. And I do think that that there's probably nothing. I mean, there's probably a bunch of stuff in this whistleblower's complaint, but again, it's not going to be anything that anybody can do jack with. I mean, maybe it'll give them a direction to investigate later, maybe.
Right. This is the thing, though. This in the Stephen Colbert's his monologue a couple nights ago, he was like, "We had the Stormy Daniels thing, and we thought that was the thing. We had the Russiagate thing, we thought that was the thing. Guys, I think we might have the thing now." It's like, how many times are you going to say that, though? I'm sure you said it then, too. How blind are you to what is actually happening here? The thing is, nobody gives a shit now. And nobody gives a shit because you said everything was going to be a huge deal and nothing was.
The biggest story to this whole thing is, let's say, because impeachment process can take a while, and the re-election is coming up very quickly, like a year and some change away. Probably won't be done by then. If there is this damning evidence, he's going to be voted out before he's impeached. So big waste of time. Either way, whether he's impeached or he's voted out, what are these late night hosts going to joke about after that? I mean, they're going to be out millions hiring writers to actually write good content
which
for
would be
people
great.
to listen to.
Like, I want Donald Trump to lose just so we don't have that easy go-to, that the same punchline for every single joke being Orange Man bad.
Yes. It's just like, I get tired of hearing it. It's not a joke. It's not funny. It doesn't deserve no standing ovation. Doesn't even deserve a laugh anymore. It's just like, oh, did you see Donald Trump's hairpiece today?
It's not about whether or not it deserves a laugh. It's about we've heard the same jokes. Tiny hands, bad hair, orange man, brash dude. Like, we knew that long before he got elected, and we're still making the same jokes. Your job is not to be a political it's not to be a news anchor. Your job is to be a comedian and help people, like, enjoy their night, and all you're doing is making the same non-jokes over and over and over again.
People consider Stephen Colbert to be a news anchor now, though. He is the source of news.
And he was he was a news satirist. That's how he got his job with the Colbert Report. He was making fun of it. He was making fun of both sides, and now he's just like the same as the Trevor Noahs, the Jimmy Kimmels, everybody.
Yes, sir. It's 2009.
What?
It's 2019.
Yeah. Let's talk about something fun and leave on a fun note before we get into the after party.
Gotta be short.
Do you have anything fun?
I think that was it for me. My funnest one was the psychopathic midget dwarf.
That was a pretty fun one. Okay, I think I pulled up a couple fun ones here. Let me see. And just so everybody knows, we're recording this on Thursday, September 26th. I'm sure by the time this comes out on Monday, all of this information will be completely beyond outdated, and nobody will even be talking about any of these things anymore. So, sorry, but that's what happened.
Or they'll be screaming at the top of the mountains because Trump is getting impeached.
Yep. Seems very likely. Let's end on this. From thesmokinggun.com, so you know it's legit. Police. Bean dip was spiked with meth. Seems like a good way to go.
Sounds like some delicious bean dip.
Who's wasting their precious meth on bean dip? It's like, without reading anything, which is what we typically do, I'm gonna say, what she has got to be the exception, because we always talk about, like, at Halloween time when everybody's like, oh, somebody put cocaine in a child's candy bar. It's like, what are they doing? Why?
But that's cocaine. Who would waste cocaine? Right. But it's meth. It's probably not like the blue freaking crystal meth of Breaking Bad. It's
persuasion.
It's probably stuff made out of Sudafed, cooked in somebody's trailer court, and it's the remnants left over after their freaking trailer blew up.
Well, let's find out. This is from today, September 26th. An Oregon An Oregon felon allegedly placed methamphetamine into bean dip that she served to coworkers at a Thriftway supermarket, according to cops who arrested the woman on multiple criminal counts. Did they arrest all the other people who were doing meth in the supermarket?
Right. No shit.
Police what?
This story is ridiculous already.
Yes. Police charged that Cassandra Medina Hernandez. Oh, why did she have to have a Mexican last name? Come on. 38 provided the spiked bean dip to a woman who fell ill after consuming it. Upon being treated at a hospital, the victim learned that the bean dip may have contained methamphetamine. According to Marion County Sheriff's Office, the victim told cops that Marina Hernandez, who was working in the store's deli department, provided her with the bean dip. So she was working in the deli department. Was it sold to her or given to her?
They sold her the bean dip, but then she spiced it up a little bit. Sprinkled a little oregano and then some methamphetamine on top.
After opening a criminal probe earlier this month, investigators determined that, quote, at least one other employee had consumed bean dip from the same dish that was believed to have been contaminated. Deputies yesterday arrested Hernandez on several charges, including unlawful delivery of methamphetamine and recklessly endangering other person. Investigators said they have, quote, no reason to believe customers were served contaminated food at the supermarket. Wait, what? Investigators said they have no reason to believe that customers were served contaminated food at the supermarket, a city about 15 miles south of Salem. So it sounds like it was in, like, a common area for employees, and
now,
she wasn't, like, serving it.
Well, unless it was like a potluck or like a company potluck or something like that. Or she just left the dish there for people to enjoy on their break time and stuff. I mean, it's not like she's scooping it into their mouth, but
right.
If she did.
Well, I'm saying it was probably something for employees. They're saying it wasn't. She wasn't selling it to customers.
But the funniest part was when they're like, she was charged with an unlawful distribution of methamphetamine. It's like, as lawful distribution of methamphetamine? Only the government can do that. That was funny. I was talking to some coworkers about cheesy pickup lines. I'm not sure what brought the topic up. And one of them was saying how, he's used a couple pickup lines that have worked before. I was like, do pickup lines actually work? And our office manager was like, only on people that you probably don't want to pick up. I was like, the only people that pickup lines actually work on are meth heads. And isn't it easier just to say, I got meth? I mean, that's the way to pick up a meth head is say, I got meth.
Hey, baby, did you fall from heaven? Because I have meth. All right. Oh, well.
Heads are hilarious.
Yeah. Do you have anything to end on? We've gone for an hour 20 here, and we'll do a little anti-news after party here in a moment after I relieve my bladder. But do you have anything to end on here?
I mean, 2 months and the same old shit is still happening.
Yeah.
The same everything. I mean, 2 months ago we were talking probably about Donald Trump being impeached. 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, we were talking about David Hogg spouting off his gums and being
now he just put on a wig.
Yeah, and now we're talking about Donald Trump getting impeached and the female David Hogg spouting off her gums ignorantly about climate change.
How dare you?
I mean, it's just a circle. I mean, you talk about the news cycle. It's just a news circle, like a perfect circle of, hey, we're off the Trump impeachment. Let's have a kid talk about society issues. And then let's circle back around to a war. We got to have a war in there. I mean, we didn't even mention I did see. I haven't read into it because I don't care. Apparently, Saudi Arabia oil reserves were attacked or something, and Trump is talking about possibly sending in troops. So there's a war. I mean, it's not Syria now. It's sending him to Saudi Arabia. And then it's going to circle back around to Trump getting impeached. It's just over and over. We don't have things to talk about.
How about we combine them and say when Donald Trump sends us into unnecessary wars, we impeach him then. And we can all agree on that. And then
we can
you guys will have something that sticks.
Scream about it.
What?
We could have a child stand up and scream about it.
Sure, yeah. We can roll it all into one thing. We could even say he's bombing children. Which we're very prone to doing sometimes if it suits the narrative. But I don't know. The news is, it's just the same thing over and over again with different variables in the. You can have the same headlines. I feel like CNN and everybody, even Drudge or everybody, they just have the same headlines and re-release them with just a couple names changed, and it's fine. It's not history repeating itself. It's like last week repeating itself, and it's bizarre.
What were those stories that we used to get books of where it would ask for a noun and it would tell a story with
Mad
just
Libs?
completely different? Is that what it's called?
Like Mad Libs or what?
Yeah, where it was just like a story and it'd be like, name a noun. It'd be like, I ran to the football and... Is that Mad Lib?
Yeah, Mad Libs, where it's just fill in the blanks, where it gives you an adjective, noun, or adverb, or whatever. Yeah, that's all we're doing.
A country in the Middle East. Name a country. Saudi Arabia. The U.S. is proposing to attack Saudi Arabia.
The powers that be have a big dartboard, and Donald Trump's face is really big right in the center, so that always gets hit. But also, we have a bunch of no-name countries that might link to Donald Trump, or it might link to war, or it might link to something. And then we have guns or drugs, maybe drugs. Climate change, sure. Throw that up there.
I guess that was gun control. Oh, I like that idea better.
Yep.
We need to make a dartboard and sell it.
We should do this, since we're doing this monthly now, we should make a bingo card. We should each make a bingo card that has different topics on it and see what comes up within the month. And then
Yes,
definitely see who wins. We're doing it.
But
You guys do it too.
Countries in the Middle East have to be on there, so to kind of raise the stakes a little bit.
Yeah.
So Uzbekistan, is that even still a country?
Who knows?
I don't even know if it's a stand, so it's got to be in the Middle East, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm just gonna.
They only stand in the Middle East.
I'm gonna pick just a random country and be like, "This is my country," on my bingo card, and I'm putting everything. I'm doubling down on this, and you're like, "Really, that one?"
Let's do it. From now on, every single month, at the end of the month, we're going to do a monthly recap with AntiNews, and we'll do a bingo card for each month. And if your topic has been brought up in any way in the news, and it can't be like, Uzbekistan had like a potato famine or something, like, because that doesn't count. That's not our news. It has to be related to the United States in some way.
Yes.
Sound good?
I like it.
All right. Well, to those of you listening, which are whoever is hearing me say this, thank you for listening, and welcome back to the Anti-News, and we're going to try and keep it as regular as we can, which will be monthly for now. But if you'd like to hear the after parties, if you would like to hear all of our after parties from the past, if you'd like to hear all of our old news, which is kind of the same as current news, but with different Mad Libs variables in there, you can go find them at antinewslive.com. Or you can join the Downers Club and get all the after parties by going to patreon.com/The System Is Down, where we will be posting the extended episode here momentarily. So thank you for listening. Until next time, have fun, question everything, stay comfortable, and all the fun stuff. Craig, welcome back, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Where's my outro button? Where is my outro button? I've got an intermission button. Okay, here it is. All right. See you guys.
Hey Downers, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. But more importantly, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemisdown, because the evil wizards of YouTube almost never let us monetize anything on here. Thanks.